No, I'm loving this, guys. These ideas are crazy. Well, this is the thing, because we talk so much on our show about, how to take things to the next level. But this conversation is really like, hey, like how to start, right? And I really like how Navin put it, where it's like, you got 52 weeks in a year, because some people think very quantitatively that way, right? And one way that I was thinking when you were all talking there was you got to like 0.9 the 1.0 experience. And what that is these guys know it. I always say step out of your comfort zone. Yeah. Right? Like the other night, man, like going up and hosting a comedy show, that was me getting out of my comfort zone. But I can guarantee you, if I didn't pay attention to the 0.9 and the 0.1 and 0.2 and 0.3, everything that went up to that 1.0 of getting in front of an audience that's ready to laugh, if I didn't do all these other things where I've emceed a wedding, I've, hosted our own show in front of a live audience, if I haven't done things in front of an audience, there's no fucking way I would have the confidence to get in front of a crowd that's ready to laugh. And I bring this to our attention here because if anyone is looking at getting in front of a camera, and you now need to measure how uncomfortable is that for me. Like I need to be real with myself on a scale of 1 to 10. It's like, like this is like, man, like I look at a camera, I get scared. Like whatever that feeling is, if it's that, then now ask yourself, what's a little bit easier than this, but it still makes me uncomfortable? And then being able to decipher and think of ways in which you're going to start expanding that comfort zone. And I used to do this, and it's crazy to talk about this past tense now because it's recent, but, I worked recently as a manager managing personal trainers. And the one thing they were always scared of was, oh man, like I know how to train, I want to help people out so much, but the thought of talking to a stranger and asking them for money and getting them to be my client, oh, that's so much. I'm like, okay, how about this? You're just learning. I'm not expecting you to do that yet. So why don't you just go introduce yourself to somebody? And they're like, okay, yeah, like do I ask them how their day is going? I'm like, yeah, if you want. But just go up to them and say, hey.
Just talk.
Yeah, my name's Anderson. I'm a personal trainer here. Nice to meet you.
Bro, he knows Anderson.
No way.
Andy Chan, bro.
Andy Chan.
That's my guy, bro.
Isn't that crazy?
Andy Chan I hired, bro.
That's my
Isn't that
dude,
crazy?
bro.
The guy's a beauty, by the way, man. Shout out to Anderson.
Train Andy and his brother since they were kids, man.
Dude, they're beauties, man. Good guy.
That's crazy.
But like back to it, right? You got 1.0 the experience, man. Y'all disagree or agree? I just want to
You
make
got
sure.
a lot of taglines. You got a lot of taglines, bro.
Yo, I wanted to talk about that. Thank you. Good segue. So get this. Yo, it's 2023. No, legit. No, seriously. I'm not lying. It's 2023 and I'm sick and tired of like hearing all these little kiddies who have these crazy words nowadays, right? I don't even want to name them. I think some of them are like, yo, that's Raz.
Riz.
Or like, yo,
Riz.
Riz. Like, bro, I've never felt like such an old man.
Kenny
right?
adds a Daisy twist. All the sayings. Every single.
Yo, so I got a few of my own, right? And I want to brand this shit. I'm thinking about t-shirts, Nav. I'm thinking about so much ideas. And I genuinely want to know what Nav thinks, agree or disagree, and what our audience thinks. Okay?
Segment? Agree or disagree? Like,
No.
It's kind of nice. Turning into it, bro.
This is all from the Zoom call when I was saying I don't think we should necessarily always agree on shit.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, all right, keep going.
Yo, don't worry. Nav and I are going to be in London. We're going to be saying all these words we have for y'all. So this is the first one, okay? This is the first one. Is yo. It's not just saying, yo, go slowly. And I swear to God, anytime you hear the word slowly, you're going to think of this. It's go slowly, slowly. So you don't say slowly once. You say slowly twice. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Disagree. He's like, no.
Bro, I disagree.
But you say it.
He says it? That's crazy if you say it.
I'll be honest. I'm going to say this right here. And I don't mean to sound arrogant. But Nav, I swear to you, bro, I'll say one word. And these guys will be making fun of me right now. But they add this shit into their vocabulary like they created it themselves.
Yo, vouch for yourselves. Is this true?
We're just echoing chambers. When you say something, I can't believe some of the shit you say. So then I just say it back. I'm like, did this motherfucker just really say slowly, holy?
Oh my God.
So that's one. What's another one? And we'll all kind of go round table. Like, what's a catchphrase either you created or you've been saying a lot lately?
I don't think I got a catchphrase, bro.
Okay, I'll keep going then, bro. You really don't have any right now?
Bro, I take it all from you.
There's one that we really like, and it's Torja.
Those are hot takes.
Torja hot takes. You know, Torja this, Torja that. Do you know what Torja means?
No.
No? Are you bilingual at all?
No.
Damn.
I'm actually learning Hindi
you
right
a
now.
phony, bro.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Aap kaise hai?
Bilkul tiku.
Oh, yo, let's go. Nice.
I'm learning, bro. Don't worry. I got basics, bro. I got basics.
Hum second floor. Hum Hindi mein. That'd be so sick, bro. Yo, all the mussies are gonna be all over that, bro. But Toraja means like a little bit.
Thora sa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Torasa.
Thora sa. But it's like Punjabi.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, we got a few. Got a couple.
Yeah, maybe we switch it up.
Yeah.
The taglines. You
Sure,
okay
bro,
with that, bro?
sure.
This might be this might be another cuttable part right
Having a
here.
good time, bro.
Bro, this guy only got cut off.
Yo, take Omid off the editor duties, bro, because he's trying to make it all serious again. And we told him, we're like, yo, we gotta have more fun on the show, bro.
This is fun, bro.
Corporate caches, bro. CQ. There's not a GQ, that's a CQ.
This guy, bro. That's funny. I think segueing into the seriousness, but Nav, I wanted to ask you, just from like, we talk about brands, we talk about content creating. Have you at this point kind of like is there anything that's evolved over your kind of like ways of building brands or how you've started? Because like when you start in this, you have a certain way or a certain mindset going into it, but then all of a sudden new platforms, things start to change. I want your perspective on like what's changed and what you think is the way, but also how you've kind of navigated through building all these different brands and working with clients and things like that.
So first of all, when I first started, just like everyone else, I didn't know shit. And I think like I say that because I think a lot of people don't understand that like it's okay to start when you don't know shit, because that's the whole point of being an entrepreneur. The thing that changed the most in the last like 7 years, especially within the lab, has just been social media, man. I think we all know this. Like we're in a completely digital age. If you're not building a brand on social media, if you're not putting out content, no one's gonna see it. You can't build. So it's like that's been the craziest thing in the last 7 years. Because when we first started, like you kind of said this, like Instagram was there and all that stuff. TikTok wasn't there, first of all. It was really just Instagram. You got some Facebook, you got YouTube,
Vine.
You had Vine. If you wanted to do short content, but the main were like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So there's only 3 platforms really. So it's like at that point, in my opinion, it's easier, right? You're making the same thing, you're repurposing it. You don't have to focus so much on the next videos or what's coming next. And as social media evolves, it's like, okay, shit, Snapchat, because Snapchat has stories you can monetize. Or Snapchat has videos you can monetize. They have Snapchat shows. So you want to get a Snapchat show. Then you got TikTok, which is a whole rabbit hole in itself. Then now you have YouTube Shorts. Then you have Instagram Reels. Then you have Twitter, because now Twitter is really, really popping off. You know what I mean? Then with us, it's like you have Douyin and Weibo, which is like Chinese social media. Then we have like In the Lab India. Then you have like In the Lab Japan. Then you have In the Lab Spain. And you want to repurpose, all this stuff. So it's like, for me, the craziest thing has been like the evolution of like how many things you need to cover on social. And then the biggest thing for me that's changed is like, I love Mr. Beast. Like, I don't think people understand like how much he's done in the creator space. Like this dude's like worth $1 billion. And like the shit he's doing, no one else will probably ever do in their lifetime, right? But one thing he did was he started putting his content out in different languages. I don't know if you guys follow him or saw this. So he started creating different YouTube channels, and he essentially forced YouTube to create an option now where they're going to embed subtitles and voiceovers in different languages on your channel. So you don't have to make other channels to do this. So for me, that's also been a big evolution of like, hey, we might think we're killing it, which within the lab, right? Oh, yo, like we're doing great, we're selling clothes and all that shit. It's like, then you look at like the analytics and the deeper stuff behind it. Okay, USA, like 90% of the audience. Okay. But like, who actually lives in the states that we want to target? Like, we haven't touched India, we haven't touched Japan, Spain, Europe. Like, that's where people are playing. That's where they're spending money. Like, how do you get there? For me, that's been the biggest thing to think about is like, damn, bro. We've spent 6 years doing this, and knock on wood, like we've done things like no one's ever done before, but it's like, damn, like we haven't really like done that much. We haven't touched the surface because like these billion people still don't know that we are like the new &1. Like we are the only basketball brand out there. It's like, shit, bro, like did we just waste 7 years? Or it's like, no, that's just part of the grind, or like not knowing.
I love that you say that. I want to ask you another follow-up question. So do you think it's important in this day and age to be informative or entertaining, or both? How is someone
Good
who
question.
wants to make content, right? I want to make content. I want to build my brand. I know I sell XYZ product.
Yeah.
How do I be entertaining? Do I have to be a comedian or someone like that has some sauce on camera, or do I be informative and provide value? Or I just want to know your thoughts on that front.
So the short answer is you need to find the middle ground of both. But what's something that always sells, other than like sex sells, is like comedy, making people laugh. People always want to laugh. If you're funny and you find that balance of like, yo, MKBHD, like he has his jokes like all throughout his videos. He brings in different characters. He's all informed. He's like a tech reviewer, if you guys know or don't know.
We were, we had a little bit of battery issues. We're now back on, and we could carry off where we left. Before we do, just a special shout out to our sponsor, Laser Shear. If you want to, clean up your skin, make yourself look fresh, if you're noticing that you're aging with some wrinkles, look no further. Laser Shear's got your back with Botox, fillers. You could book yourself a free consultation in the #1 laser hair removal facility that's been around since day one. They've been, around in Edmonton, Alberta. They were the very first of their kind, and they're still out there kicking ass. So if you want to make sure you look fresh and bring back the clock, book your free consultation at 780-489-1950.
That's an advertisement, bro.
Yeah, bro, that shit was fire, man.
Yo, thanks, bro. We got that shit on demand, bro. But okay, you were saying something, Karam. I want to bring it
What's
back
that?
to you.
Informative,
entertaining.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You got your thought?
No. I thought Navin was. I
don't
can't
know
even
who was
remember.
saying something, but something came up because you just said something or someone said something, and just like also what's changed has been like algorithms. The algorithm has changed on social media. It's like how you. I don't even know how to explain the algorithm, but it's like the stupidest thing. It's basically just how they show your content and who it's pumped out to, and it's just like it's become a rat race. Like normally on YouTube, when we would post 10,000 hours with Dev or one of our videos, every single subscriber is getting the notification. New videos out. Go watch it. Now, how it works I'll give you an example on YouTube is like, okay, let's say you have 700,000 subscribers, okay? In an ideal world, all your subscribers would, new videos popped up, but no. They put the video out in the first, I think it's like 5 or 10 minutes. They determine how many people have watched the video. So they only push out the 10% of the people first. So 70,000 people get it. Based on those 70,000 people, if they get good watch time, okay, now we're going to push it to 25% people. And then it's going to keep going up and up. So it's like, it's made the job of being a creator and having a brand like this even more difficult because you're not only competing with Mr. Beast and all these other million basketball creators, but you're competing with the algorithm. And with the algorithm, you never actually know what's going to hit because it's based on like if you guys are going to watch it or not.
Yeah, and even like the first 30 seconds, if people just click off, that 10% is going to go down to like 1%, and then a video that could be viral worthy is just gone.
Yeah, most important part of your video is the first 3 seconds. But I think Mr. Beast does it in 3 to 5 every single time. He has his hook. There's a crazy shot, crazy sequence, and then he goes into the video. And like you're hooked, so like, okay, like I'm gonna watch this because of that first 3 seconds. Because that's where people drop off the most, like you're right.
Yeah.
Man, like this is the thing. These are all such good stats, and I feel like I have to like hear this like 2, 3, 4 times to really let it sink in. I feel like I'm back in like university. I'm in stats class, and I'm just like my brain's just going elsewhere, right? But like it's good information. I'm not gonna lie. That's really important.
It can be
to know.
a lot. It can be a lot.
Because that reminds me that we are the little fish in a big ocean. Like, man, like we're not just, everyone's like, oh, we gotta get to Joe Rogan's stage. What about all the other like, B, C players that are also so hungry to get up there?
So another thing from that standpoint is like, so I want to ask you both of you guys, because both of you guys are obviously content creators. So how does someone stay true to themselves while they create this content? Because I feel like now, like you guys said, the algorithm, all the competition's crazy. So now you have to start thinking a little bit deeper on how you create your content. So I want to ask you guys, like, how do you stay authentic while working these strategies of 3 to 5, so first part of your video's got to be this? Because even like with Mr. Beast, right, like I feel like maybe, and I could be wrong because I don't I don't know his strategies or whatnot, but he, I'm sure, had to go through a ton of reps and videos to get to a point of like, oh, okay, like 3 to 5 seconds or the first 5 seconds, okay, I'm doing this, and it seems like it's working. But he's staying authentic to his brand and how his videos are and whatever the case. So how do you stay authentic with whatever lane you're in creating content while applying these strategies?
I always go, so I can say or you can go. I feel like
I was gonna say, like, I was actually gonna bounce the same topic and ask you a question off of this. I feel like what we just talked about with even like the hook, all that shit. Do you feel like it's changing the way people are making videos and even changing the authenticity of it? Because for example, I've made a video that was searchable that maybe wasn't completely true to myself that got over 1 million views that I don't really care for necessarily as much as I care about basketball training itself. So how to dunk as like a brown guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was something that I've done. It's something that I spend like crazy amount of hours trying to do it. But I'm not going home. Actually, I'm trying to get there again. Thanks. Shout out Carnivore Diet. To be able to dunk again consistently. But it wasn't like something that I cared about. So now I feel like the way that content is changed, how you're talking about, it shows it to the 10% for the first hour or so, and then I'll push it out to 25 if it does good. I feel like it's forced me to change and pivot and make content not in the way that I would necessarily want to make it, where guys like Joe Rogan, who've been in the game so early, have had the privilege of getting their name out there well enough where their content is still true to themselves. So how do you get that to be you now?
Great stories are timeless. To be a great storyteller, one must bridge the gap between an alluring narrative and the audience, to pull at the heartstrings and to shape the imagination. At Q Films Media, we're more than just a media production agency. We are a powerhouse of creative individuals, content creators who specialize in telling great stories. Stories that are intimate and kept closest to the heart. Stories that are powerful and inspiring, that spark boldness and action. We are Q Films Media. We're here to tell your story. We are always unseen.
So the hardest thing, going back to like what you said first, is like, how do you build an audience that fucks with you, that engages with you, and that can be your community? And that's the point where you have to put yourself and be the most vulnerable. Because if you're not vulnerable at that point and show like your true authentic self, that's when stuff like this can happen, in my opinion. And then now he's going to play the rabbit hole of chasing what other people want as opposed to what he wants. And that's how you get creator burnout and other stuff, which I'm sure you've experienced already. And that's the toughest part about being a creator, is like, how do you actually find the balance of like what you want to do and what your audience wants to see? And I feel like that's why it's so important to yourself to be vulnerable. Make Instagram stories talking about yourself, ask your community certain things, but like show who you are outside of being a creator as well. Like, I'll post stuff at a party or like with my wife or whatever, like just show like, to bring that connection of like, I'm a human, like a real person. Like, I'm going to put out what I want and I want you guys to watch it no matter what I put out. That's the hardest thing to do in this day and age, because they can see that and just be like, nah, fuck you, bro. Because there's 35 other creators I'll go to that are giving me the content I want.
Yeah.
But they're playing the rat race. And like, I just keep saying that creator burnout's like such a real thing. Like, people will get burnt out by doing that because they're not passionate in it. If you're not passionate,
I mean, even like the jumping series that I created, I was still very passionate about it, because I feel like when you've done something that takes a lot of requirement, you definitely got to be passionate about it to achieve it. And that itself, but there's only so many jumping videos you can make before you switch into it. I would say that even the jumping videos themselves did segue into it, because it's still related to basketball. It's still a part of basketball, but it was just like a different niche within the niche.
I've felt from like an artist perspective, it's been tough because artists have certain brand, like a sort of a mood to their brand, right? And I mean, I've noticed it just being a rapper is like, you'll see guys who have that dark, moody sort of vibe to them, and that's kind of their brand. I've struggled with the teetering of, do I go the route of just posting all the good shit and posting all the high quality, like dope, artistic photos, videos of myself, and then teeter-tottering on that of like, show who you are.
Yeah.
Show that you are like outside of being a hip hop artist and videographer and all this stuff. Show like the day-to-day, show the behind the scenes, show the cameras, show the so for me, from a brand building perspective or brand strategy perspective, that's something I've had to deal with. Is like, do I show like I'm going to like a dinner or like whatever to show just like the human side? Or do I take the route of just the artists where like you see guys, like even the guys that are coming up, they'll have like 5 posts on their Instagram. They got like 60,000 followers and they got these dark, moody, like artistic photos of themselves, but you don't know who they are. You have no idea. You just hear their music and you see like 3 photos on their Instagram. I'm like, damn, like how's that balance? Anyway, that's my struggle.
Man, C-Boy's therapy. This is nice.
You know,
I want to share my piece.
Okay,
like,
good.
you got to see yourself. What are you about to say?
I was like, as long as you stay on topic.
We'll stay on topic, bro. Don't worry. I like this conversation. If I didn't like it, I would have switched it. These guys are so bad, bro. Like, he keeps switching it. But like, no, on the real, like, you got to see yourself. Like, this is the way I look at it. Bringing it back to authenticity is, I want, when I'm listening to something, I see a piece of myself in that person I'm listening to, right? So I need to recognize that I'm a big believer in you are your audience. So whoever is living a very similar life as you or has very similar interests, they're the ones that are going to want to listen to your content, right? And then I am guilty of when I'm listening to somebody, I want to become a version of that. Like, I want to take in how their personality is and how, their personas are. And I want to add that into my life because then that's a value. That's going to make me better at the things I'm doing. So when this question comes up and I continue to think about authenticity is like, okay, how am I going to make people better that have the same interests as me? Because that is, at the end of the day, in my opinion, majority of the type of people that are listening. Like, if you're not someone who likes to try different things, likes to create content, if you're not someone that isn't physically active, okay, those 3 things, if you're not those, I don't think you're going to listen to Second Floor Podcast. So I started thinking of, what are the things I fuck with? What are the things that Cassius likes? What does Karam like? Okay, now a blend of these things, that's what's going to get someone who also is involved in those things to listen.
Yes, it goes back to understanding your niche. And that's like the hardest thing people struggle with, right? How do you define your niche? Because once you're in that niche, it's almost near impossible to come out of it on social media. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so important that you guys define that and just run with it.
And I think it's okay for that shit to evolve over time. The biggest struggle that people have, going back to, I don't know how to start, I don't know when to do it. Well, just understand that whoever you are now, that's going to change. That's going to develop over time. And it's going to change, obviously, hopefully in a good way. But at least figure out what do you value? What are the personal things that you feel like you're good at? Right? Then those things are what whoever's listening also shares that are going to be interested. Because let's face it, we all want it. We want everyone to like our shit. But not everyone is. Of course. There's going to be people that will listen and be like, oh, fuck this.
You know, before I used to really think about that. Like, I want everybody to like my shit. Now, like, even creating content, and there's pain behind being nobody, and then there's pain behind becoming somebody. And then the pain behind becoming somebody definitely has a lot of people that aren't going to fuck with your shit. And that's something that I had to like kind of understand over time. But even going back to authenticity, a guy like Sean Kanungo, and you talk about this all the time with having 1,000 true fans, he's one of those guys that he's always consistently put out who he is. And I think from afar, I admired quite a bit, because he's one of those guys, like we were talking about, we don't usually watch people's content back to like full out. I watch all of his shit full out, because I truly think a lot of times we feel like people locally aren't as big as the people that we see elsewhere outside of Edmonton, but there's a lot of fantastic people within Edmonton. In fact, like I respect what you've done from afar for quite a long time, because like you said, I remember starting off with you and just collaborating and doing different things, but to have that consistency, because we would hear shit all the time. Oh, what the fuck are these guys doing? Or like, what is this shit, right? And there's a lot of toll that over time gets created where mentally you get exhausted from hearing that shit too. So, but to be able to continue and still take that 52 weeks of content approach really takes it quite far.
I think people don't understand like how people are assholes like a lot of the time. I don't think they understand like how much their words can like negatively impact people who are just trying to like do good things or just trying to like build themselves. Like you said, like I know you've got a lot of hate. I still get hate to this day from like people I don't know or random people. I was just like, well, why? Like I never understood that. Like, why would you say like you guys can't do this, or like why is these brown guys training basketball? They never play pro. Like all these things is like, but we're just doing good things in the community. Like we're doing our thing, and they're just mad that probably they're not in our shoes or they're not like uplifting it the way we are. And it's like it's just a weird thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Comes from a place of envy, man. It comes from like, damn, you're doing something that like I don't even have the balls to do. So I'm gonna try and make you not do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you're doing it and the light's getting brighter and you're getting all this more attention and you're doing something I can't even fathom the idea of, it's just natural. It's straight bullying, man. We have an episode on that. Karam and I, we talk about it. Right?
But you know, it's interesting because like the deeper you get into the game, there's a lot less hate from guys that are even doing similar things. Like you could sit in a room with all those same people and you'd be like, yo, I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing. Everybody's doing the similar shit. But the fact that there's an understanding of what it took to get to that level and just being comfortable just being who you are, like you were saying, and putting out content with you being completely authentic.
Well, it's part of the arena too, right? You're in the arena of media. You're in the arena of branding, putting yourself out there. So I think you should have the mindset that there's going to be people that hate you, and you gotta just be okay with that. You're not gonna get everybody on your side, and that's just like I always think about The Gladiator, right? The movie The Gladiator comes in, you know, and you just see a crowd full of people, you know what I'm saying? And like 90% of those people are gonna fucking hate you, and to a certain point when you get, you know, momentum and you become the gladiator, then, you know, that's when, you know, hopefully you get, you know, some people on your side, you get that right audience. And I think there's an audience for everybody. I think there's an audience in any niche and in any industry. I think it's just a matter of finding the right people. And the more content you put out there, the more you put yourself out there, slowly, one by one, you know, they'll find you. Slowly.
Bro, I got you.
Telling you, man. See, it's working.
Just adding to that, like content. I always tell people content creates opportunity. Content is like, if you want to be lucky, like you put out content, because you, just like you said, you never know who's going to see that piece of content, who's going to interact, who's going to follow, or what that content will lead for you, because you just put it out there.